Gemini, they tried to deceive you, but the universe will show you everything. Gemini, there's a quiet restlessness in your heart, isn't there? A sensation that something isn't quite right, like a thread pulled loose in the fabric of a story you were told to believe. You may not have the full picture yet, but your spirit already knows. Someone tried to deceive you, and not in a small, careless way. This was deliberate, calculated, something that shook your sense of stability and left your inner compass spinning. But even in the silence, your intuition has been whispering. Gemini, the universe is listening too, and it has seen what your eyes could not. In the coming days, revelations will unfold. What was hidden will be illuminated. What confused you will finally make sense. This isn't about revenge. It's about restoration. A quiet but powerful return to clarity and to yourself. And here, within this sacred space of truth and healing, I'll walk with you. My name is Elizabeth, and this is Esoteric Wisdom, a place where we honor your inner voice, interpret the cosmic signs, and help you navigate the invisible layers beneath life's most important lessons. If these words resonate with your soul, pause for a moment. Breathe. Feel the energy rising within you. You were meant to hear this message, and someone else might be too. So, if your heart moves you, share this video. Subscribe. Light attracts light, and we are building something radiant here, together. Now, Gemini, let's begin. The first gate is already waiting. Gate 1, the quiet sting of betrayal, when trust becomes a mirror. Gemini, one of your greatest gifts is your mind, quick, curious, capable of navigating complexities others often avoid. But when deception slips into your world, it doesn't come through the front door. It comes subtly, skillfully disguised, dancing with your natural desire to understand every side of a story. And this is where the betrayal begins, not in the moment they lied, but in the moment they counted on your willingness to doubt yourself. Let's revisit that moment together, not to relive the pain, but to examine it like the sacred evidence it is. Perhaps it was a conversation that didn't sit right, a look that lingered too long, a message you didn't receive. Or maybe it was silence, the kind that feels more like strategy than accident. You noticed it, you felt it, but you gave them the benefit of the doubt. Why? Because you believe in nuance, in reconciliation, in not jumping to conclusions. That makes you wise, but it also made you vulnerable. There's a woman in her late 30s, let's call her Kara. She's a Gemini, a teacher by profession, known for her intellect and calm demeanor. For months, she believed her partner was just distant because of stress. She silenced her suspicions, rationalized his mood changes, blamed herself for being too sensitive. But when the truth came out, that he was emotionally involved with someone else, she realized that her mind had been occupied with solving a puzzle that someone else had deliberately scattered. The pain wasn't just in the betrayal. It was in the realization that her trust had been weaponized against her. And here's where the healing begins. Not by blaming yourself, Gemini, but by reclaiming the truth that was always inside you. The universe doesn't shame you for being deceived. It honors your integrity, and now it's time to refine it. Deception teaches discernment. It's not the lesson anyone asks for, but it's often the one that forges your wisdom in fire. You're not naive. You're generous with your understanding. And moving forward, that generosity will be guarded, not closed, but wise. Because what happened wasn't about a mistake in judgment. It was about someone misusing the open space you offered in good faith. Now, ask yourself, who are the people in your life who become uncomfortable in the presence of your clarity? Who avoids your questions? Who flatters you to distract you? The universe is gently pulling these answers forward, not to shame them, but to free you. Betrayal doesn't destroy you. It strips away illusions. And as painful as that is, it's a gift. Because on the other side of illusion is power. You are not here to play small, Gemini. You're here to embody the truth with elegance and strength. You're here to stop performing understanding for people who offer confusion in return. And you're here in this very moment to remember that your perception is a divine instrument. Sharpen it, honor it, trust it, because this time you won't second-guess the signs. This time, you'll see them for what they are, the first stepping stones to liberation. Gate 2, the collapse of illusion, when silence speaks louder than words. Gemini, truth is never absent. It simply waits in stillness, giving everyone a chance to reveal themselves. And when they don't, when their words stall, when their eyes shift, when their energy withdraws, the silence begins to speak. Not as a whisper, but as a storm on the horizon. You've felt this storm brewing, haven't you? The kind that hums just beneath your conversations. The kind that keeps you awake at 2 a.m., questioning everything that once felt certain. There is a particular kind of grief that comes from discovering not that someone lied, but that they knew the truth would hurt you, and chose to hide it anyway.
This is not a small misstep.
It's a collapse of the shared vision, of the unspoken agreements, of the trust that formed the invisible architecture between two souls. And Gemini, because of your dual nature, you feel it all, the betrayal and the logic, the ache and the reasoning. You try to make sense of what doesn't want to be understood. But sometimes, the illusion must shatter, not be solved. Let me share with you the story of Mark, a Gemini entrepreneur in his early 40s. He had built a company with a partner he considered a brother. For years, they shared dreams, meetings, even family celebrations. But behind the scenes, that partner had been moving money, shifting assets, signing contracts in secret. Mark found out through a chance email an error in a forwarding address. At first, he blamed the system, then himself. How could he, a man so aware, so alert, miss what was right under his nose? But here's the truth. Manipulators don't succeed because you're blind. They succeed because you're decent. And Mark, like you, didn't expect betrayal in a place built on loyalty. When everything came out, he lost more than money. He lost a piece of himself, the part that believed loyalty was always reciprocated. But eventually he rebuilt. This time he built with boundaries, with contracts, with clarity, and most importantly, with people who weren't intimidated by his intelligence or integrity. Gemini, you too are in this moment. The collapse isn't a punishment. It's a divine redirection. The silence that surrounded you, the evasive conversations, your overreacting dismissals, these were the universe's breadcrumbs, asking you to pay attention. Now, the illusion is no longer sustainable. And yes, it hurts, but it also frees you. You are not foolish for believing. You are not weak for loving. And you are not dramatic for sensing something others refuse to admit. You are perceptive, empathic, awake. And these qualities will never again be compromised by those who exploit them. So what now? Now you stand in the rubble and choose. Not how to rebuild yet, but what truths you will never again negotiate. Maybe you'll decide that silence is no longer acceptable. That evasiveness is a red flag, not a puzzle. That someone who guards their truth too tightly may not be safe for your openness. Gemini, your mind is wired to connect dots. But now, your spirit is asking you to connect to something deeper. Your worth. You are not here to solve others. You are here to honor your own clarity, to trust that when the illusion collapses, the truth that rises is always, always worth the cost. Let the storm come. Let it wash away what was never meant to stay, because on the other side of deception is sacred reconstruction. Gate 3, the sacred mirror. When a soul connection teaches you to see yourself. Gemini, some people don't come into your life to stay. They come to reflect, to trigger, to disrupt. And in the wreckage they leave behind, they unknowingly hand you the most important mirror you'll ever face, the one that shows you what still needs healing within. Soul connections are not always kind, but they are always purposeful. There is a common misconception that every soul connection is beautiful, divine timing, serendipitous meetings, poetic chemistry. But the truth is, some of the deepest soul connections are chaotic, magnetic, confusing. They stir up something ancient inside you. They seem to arrive at exactly the wrong time, and yet they pull you in as if some cosmic contract was signed long ago. And Gemini, your mind searches for meaning in this, for structure, for logic. But the lesson here isn't always meant to be decoded. Sometimes it's meant to be felt. Let me introduce you to Anna. She's a Gemini artist, brilliant and intuitive. She met a man who felt like destiny. Older, wiser, spiritual. He spoke the language of the stars, wrote poetry, and told her she was unlike anyone he'd ever met. Within weeks, she was emotionally invested. They shared secrets, created rituals, made plans. But slowly, cracks began to show. He withdrew, made her question herself, twisted her own words into accusations. Still, she stayed. Not because she was weak, but because she saw him as her mirror, her twin flame, perhaps. She thought love meant enduring confusion until clarity returned. But the clarity never did. What came instead was collapse. One night, in the quiet aftermath of yet another fight, Anna finally asked herself, "What is he reflecting back to me that I'm afraid to look at?" And the answer came not from her mind, but from her body. Unworthiness. A fear of abandonment. A longing to be chosen. In that moment, she realized he hadn't broken her. He had revealed her. Gemini, that's the alchemy of certain connections. They don't enter your life to complete you. They enter to uncover you. And while the experience may feel like chaos, its purpose is clarity. Not about them, but about you. What have you tolerated in the name of love? What have you justified, reinterpreted, softened, just to hold on to something that once felt fated? These questions are painful, but they're sacred, because answering them is the first step toward reclaiming your soul's sovereignty. You were never meant to lose yourself in another. You were meant to meet yourself through another. And now, as the fog lifts, you may see this person not as your destiny, but as your lesson. That's not a failure. It's an initiation. Gemini, your duality is your gift. You hold both logic and feeling, analysis and intuition. And it's time to let them work together, not against each other. You don't need to make excuses for people who call your sensitivity too much or your curiosity too intense. You don't need to shrink to keep someone comfortable. A soul connection that demands your silence isn't sacred. A love that thrives only when you're doubting yourself isn't divine. It's distortion. And you've learned the difference now. So as you begin to close the door on this chapter, do so with compassion, but without compromise. Bless the lesson. Thank the mirror, and walk forward knowing that the next time love arrives, it won't come to wound. It will come to witness, to honor,
To stay.
This isn't the end of love for you, Gemini. It's the end of false reflections. And in the mirror that now stands before you, you will see something extraordinary. Not them, not the pain, not the past, but you.
Whole.
Worthy, ready. Gate 4. Rebuilding with truth. The rise of your unshakable wisdom. Gemini, after the collapse, after the silence, after the mirror breaks and you finally see yourself with clarity, you stand at the edge of something sacred. This is not just the aftermath of pain. This is the foundation of truth. And from here, you do not simply rebuild. You rise. You see, most people believe that healing is about returning to how things were before the hurt. But that's not your path. Your journey is not about becoming who you were. It's about becoming who you truly are. That person beneath the over-explaining, the second-guessing, the soft compromises that dulled your brilliance for the sake of harmony. That person, the whole, wild, wise version of you, is waiting to lead now. Let me tell you about Daniel. Another Gemini, quiet but powerful in thought, always the observer in the room. He once spent years in a corporate job that praised his efficiency, but muted his creativity. He stayed, not because he was satisfied, but because the people around him told him he should be grateful. He was told that asking for more freedom, more meaning, more soul was unrealistic. And slowly, he began to believe them. Until one day, something small triggered a massive shift. A junior colleague presented a bold, imaginative project, and Daniel's heart stirred. Not with envy, but with memory. He remembered himself. That night, he didn't sleep. He sat up, journaling the dreams he'd long buried beneath deadlines. And within months, he left that job, not in rebellion, but in reverence for the parts of himself he refused to ignore any longer. Gemini, what parts of yourself have you muted to make others feel comfortable? What dreams have you placed in the attic of your own soul, waiting for someday? The season of revelation has not come just to show you who others are. It has come to show you what you've outgrown. You are being invited now to build with truth, not just in your relationships, but in your work, your home, your voice. That means saying no when it would have once felt easier to appease. That means choosing depth over familiarity. That means trusting that if something doesn't sit right, it probably isn't right for you, no matter how many people smile and say otherwise. This is the era of inner leadership. You no longer seek permission to feel what you feel or know what you know. The inner authority that was once whispered is now speaking clearly. And you are learning to listen. It won't be easy.
Wisdom rarely is.
There will be moments when you miss the comfort of the illusion, the way it allowed you to dream without accountability. But you'll also begin to notice how your body relaxes when you speak your truth. How your energy expands when you walk away from things misaligned. How peace no longer feels like the absence of conflict, but the presence of integrity. Gemini, the universe is not asking you to become hard. It is asking you to become precise. Kind, but not naive. Open, but not exposed. Generous, but not at the expense of your own spirit. That's the balance. And you, of all signs, were born to find it. So as you rebuild, do not look for blueprints from others. Look inward. The structure you need is already in your bones. Your curiosity is your compass. Your voice is your tool. And your truth, no matter how inconvenient it may be to others, is your sacred ground. The people who belong in your life will meet you here. The opportunities that honor your soul will find you here. And the future that once seemed distant? It begins here, with this version of you, fully seen, no longer waiting for proof to believe what you feel. You are not who you were before the deception. You are wiser, steadier, more grounded in your own knowing. And from this place, you will not only build, you will thrive. Conclusion: you were never broken, just becoming. Gemini, take a deep breath. You've walked through the shadows. You've sat with the silence. You've faced the aching truth that someone tried to break what they never truly understood. And yet, here you are, not shattered, not diminished, but rising, refined in your clarity, radiant in your wisdom. You see, the journey you've just taken, through intuition, betrayal, soul connections, and spiritual awakening, was never meant to destroy you. It was designed to strip away what wasn't truly yours. The illusions, the projections, the compromises you made just to be accepted. Those were never the real you. What remains now is something pure, something sharper, something unshakable. You are not naive for having trusted. You are not foolish for having hoped. You are someone who chose to believe in love, in honesty, in the good of others, and that is a rare and powerful gift. But now, your discernment has caught up to your generosity. You can still lead with your heart, but you now walk with eyes wide open. And if there's one truth the universe wants you to carry forward, it is this: you were never broken. You were just becoming. Becoming someone who no longer shrinks to fit in. Becoming someone who no longer doubts their inner knowing. Becoming someone who no longer needs proof to trust their gut. This is your evolution, Gemini. And it's beautiful. Let this be your vow to yourself. To only offer your energy where it is honored. To only build with those who respect the foundation of truth. To only say yes when your spirit echoes it. The season of deception is over. The season of clarity has arrived. And as you stand here, on the edge of this new horizon, know this: you are exactly where you're meant to be. Not because everything went right, but because even what went wrong led you home to yourself. If this message found you at just the right time, trust that it was meant to. Share this energy with someone who might need it too. Like, subscribe, and stay connected, because your journey is far from over. And the next chapter is written not in fear, but in freedom. Welcome to your truth, Gemini.